Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Two Peas in a Pod with Jack and Dylan. Today we're going to be doing our end of the year individual awards, from MVP to Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, and then we're going to finish it off with some underachievers and overachievers. But first, Hot Carl.
NBA Live, 2003. Hot Carl MC. Yo, EA Sports. It's like, wow. Yeah. I'm about to say with this one. It's like a slam to the face. Tell me, how's the 360 taste? Now you're just another poster. Your mother's disgrace.
All right. Welcome in. How you doing today, Jack?
Doing well, yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So today we're going to break down our individual awards for the end of the year, our predictions. I guess we can start off with our Rookie of the Year. I think we got two a little bit different answers. I think it's a consensus as a top two for sure. It's going to be one of the two. I think everyone in the Eastern Hemisphere thinks it's going to be Benjamin over in Philly, and I think everyone in the Western Hemisphere thinks it's going to be Donovan over in Utah. So I'll go with mine first. I just got to give it to Donovan. I just want to speak it into existence. I'm fed up with the fake rookie narrative, how Ben Simmons is on the same playing field as everybody else. If you truly think that he doesn't have an advantage after spending the year with the Sixers, watching the film, training with the guys, in the gym constantly, not going to school, he was living the NBA life for a full year before he did this. Donovan Mitchell came straight from Louisville, especially with all the shit going on in Louisville. Like, he came straight from there and is putting up the numbers he's putting up. I think he's got to be my Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it comes down to Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, obviously. Tatum's in the mix.
Yeah, with me, I think Lonzo's the third guy probably, but you can definitely make a case for Tatum just because of the winning. I just think Lonzo's, like, as much as his dad's a tool and whatever, but I think he did truly change the culture, and I think that style of play, that push, that run and gun, that way they run it, I think has a lot to do with him, and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, the potential's there. I've said it before. I haven't seen consistent aggression from him, and I just want to see him take over a game kind of thing. With Tatum, like, he's leading the league in, like, 3-point percentage, or he's one of the league leaders.
Yeah. He hit the wall, too, though, and I think he's shooting less now, and
he needs to get more shots.
I just don't think he's been as much of an impact as Lonzo has. That's my thing. But regardless, both of them, I think...
He's been a real surprise.
Yeah, either way you split it, they're both coming in third place next to these two guys.
Yeah.
But who do you think is going to be the Rookie of the Year, though?
I think my fellow listener and process truster, Kaylee Barcelo, will be happy to hear that I think Ben Simmons is going to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Bark probably just freaked out. But,
shout out.
Yeah. I'm so sick of him. Not Bark. I love Bark. Bark's my guy. I'm so sick of Ben Simmons, though.
Yeah.
I can shoot a better jump shot than Ben Simmons can.
He doesn't need a jump shot.
He's gonna need one.
Here's the one.
Mark my words. Come playoff time, you'll be like, damn, Ben Simmons had a jump shot. You know?
There are great players that have played in the league, and you can be a great player in the league without a jump shot.
Not in today's day and age, you can't. I don't think that's true. In 2018, I don't think you can. Who's the best player without a jump shot in the league?
Like, other than a big?
Even including bigs.
I mean, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, and you think he's an elite player in the league?
Yeah, he's splashing free throws actually lately. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like he doesn't have a jump shot at all, right?
And he can still be a fantastic player though. I think.
Not elite, not top level, not the guy that's going to win you a championship, not the second guy that's going to win you a championship either. I think you truly need a jump shot in the league, just now.
And I wouldn't count that out though. Like I think he's going to get to that.
You're right.
I think
he's 20. He's 20, 21. Like
he's going to get.
He's got lots of time. Like Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer, he is adamant. Like he truly believes Ben Simmons shooting with his wrong hand. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I have. But they're going to wait till the offseason.
Yeah, and some of the percentages, I mean, it could be interesting. You look at Tristan Thompson's the only guy I know of that switched shooting hands coming into the league, and he is not a jump shooter by any means necessary. But I think Ben does need to add that to his game to be an upper echelon player.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Ben. All around. Rebounding. Makes everybody better. Like, he distributes the ball.
Yeah.
And he can get in the paint whenever he wants.
Yep.
Like, maybe that will change in the playoffs, but we're yet to see that.
Yeah, but Lonzo also is an elite rebounder for his position. Lonzo also grabs rebounds like that. And Lonzo can shoot a three now, all of a sudden. Shooting like 40% in the last 2 months.
Yeah, when I look at upside though, like Ben Simmons has been compared to LeBron James by LeBron James.
He hasn't been compared. He's just had praise.
He can
by
get
him.
there. Like he's built, like the way he's built is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I just mean, as of right now, he is not a complete player without that jump shot, and I'm not expecting him to be a complete player because he is technically quote unquote a rookie. He has time to develop like that. He for sure does, but I just, as of right now, he needs a jump shot.
Here's my argument for the whole fake rookie thing. I get that, and to a certain extent, I'm kind of like, yeah, I understand. But when you look back to Blake Griffin's rookie year,
Yeah, I don't think
It was the
should've
same
won
thing.
Either. I don't think he should have won it either. And that was 8 years ago.
that's the thing you have to like say about the NBA is like at least they're remaining consistent with that.
Yeah, but that's a. I don't agree with that argument at all because if you just want to remain consistent, you're never going to have innovation. You're never going to have the All-Star game formatted like they do this year. That's going to improve next year again. This playoff system, this might be a completely off-topic, different situation for next pod, but they floated the idea out that they've said that Adam Silver's talking about 1 through 16 being seeded, getting rid of the conferences when it comes to playoff time, right? The reason they floated that out, I think, is because they're worried about LeBron James going to the Western Conference next year. Because after that, who's the best player in the East? Giannis?
Yeah.
Or Kyrie?
Yeah, Porzingis up there.
Like, and those guys aren't top, like, maybe crack the top 10, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, Kyrie's probably the 9th best player in the league.
Yeah.
Right? But, I mean, they floated that idea out there so that when LeBron leaves, they can change it. They said, oh, we've been talking about it for years. It's not because of LeBron, right? Because of that innovation, it helps the league change. So if they could nip this in the butt, this rookie thing, it'd be great. I would love it. I think it makes it better. And they fixed it last year when they gave it to Brogdon instead of Embiid. But Embiid also only played 31 games. The fact that he was even in the discussion was ridiculous to me. He took 2 years off and played 31 games. I don't like the narrative, and I don't like the idea that I'm fine. I'm fine if they don't change the rule, but someone's got to address it. Because no one really talks about it except for like NBA Twitter. Guys like me who look at it and don't really have a voice. Like, someone higher up needs to mention it. And there should be an asterisk beside it, I think.
Yeah, it's an issue. I'm not saying I agree with it because, quite honestly, I don't. But the way things are and the way that the rule is, whatever, he is the rookie of the year. Like,
I still think Mitchell does
it doesn't
more.
matter what way you slice it. I don't think. Like
Mitchell's the number one option, right? Mitchell's carrying a Utah
but
Jazz
he
team.
also doesn't have Joel Embiid on his team, who could potentially be the best center in the league.
Exactly. That's my argument for Donovan Mitchell. That's not a knock against him. He is the one that has to go out, and if he plays well, Utah plays well. When he rolls, they roll. Philly can go without Ben Simmons for 2 or 3 games if he's having an off night because they have other options. I don't think Utah can afford to do that without Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell has a greater impact on his team. That's why I think he should be Rookie of the Year.
I think Ben Simmons can play and guard more positions. Like he can
might be
play
more-
the 4.
He might be more versatile, but I don't think he's a better...
He can guard the 4.
I don't think he's had a better season than Donovan Mitchell has.
And I think he's ridiculously athletic too. I think Donovan Mitchell's also ridiculous.
You want to talk about
Yeah.
an athlete?
But I think you can make an argument for both. I think it's closer than a lot of people think, right? Because when we came into the season, it was like
It's supposed to be
gonna
one.
Ben
It
Simmons.
was supposed to be a one pony race, right? And I think Donovan Mitchell's really stepped up and said, "Hey, I'm here." And if they make the playoffs, bro, if he takes Utah, like who's the second best player on Utah? Gobert.
Yeah,
He missed 30.
not a bad second
he missed
best player.
He missed 27 games this year, I think, something like that. Right. So then after that, who's your best player? Ricky Rubio?
Who's having a hell of a year.
No, but if you're making the playoffs with Ricky Rubio as your number 2 option and you're a rookie as the number 1 option, give that guy every trophy there is to give.
I think Philadelphia, Ben Simmons is the second best player in Philadelphia, but I think
Yeah.
they're significantly better than Utah. I mean, I don't think it should be held against Ben Simmons, the fact that he plays with a better player. I don't think that should knock off what he's doing in his rookie year, right?
It knocks off the MVPs, though. KD's not on the talk this year because he plays with Steph. Steph's not on the talk this year because he plays with KD. Right? It happens. That's the way it goes. If you want individual success, look at Russ last year. Don't put anyone on his team. Let Russ be a one-show pony. Win his MVP.
And I think that's kind of a flaw, right? Like,
it's an
I don't
individual
know.
award. That's
Yeah.
what it's about, I think.
Yeah. It's all inflated numbers and whatnot.
Yeah, it's an individual award, right? And it never is going to compare to an NBA championship or team success.
Yeah.
But it's just something to argue about.
Yeah, you just got to take it for what it is.
So he's got Ben. I got Mitchell.
Yeah, it's really
It
a
is what
toss-up.
it
Take
is.
your pick.
Yeah, it is definitely a two a two-horse race for sure with those two guys. So I think next we can talk about Defensive Player of the Year. We each got 3 candidates, right?
Yes.
So who are your 3 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year?
I got Ben Simmons, mate, Joel Embiid, Al Horford, and
Okay.
PG-13. PG-13's he's my favorite.
He's gonna win it. I got him winning it. I got PG, Russ, and Capella.
You got Russ.
Russ is my hot take. Here's the thing. Everyone's saying Russ only worried about his offense last year, and Russ only worries about his offense still. But it's like he's so active in the passing. Like he's like the way that Miami LeBron was, where he could just read it and see it, jump in passing lanes. Like he's been top 5 in steals per game and just steals in general all year. And it's not like he's a slouch. Like I don't want Russ to guard me. That guy's a ball of energy. Like I think he should be in the race. I think he should be in the talk, especially when everyone's talking about advanced metrics and plus minus and things like that.
Yeah, and analytics and whatnot. Yeah.
Just look at the stats. Watch the eye test. Watch him play. He's an active guy that gets a lot of steals. And with OKC being one of the better defensive teams in the league, when your backcourt's buzzing like Paul George and Russ are, I think they both got to be in the discussion. I don't think he's anywhere near the level that Russ is defensively. I mean that PG is defensively.
Yeah.
But he's there with
like
them.
PG's always been a great defensive player, but he's really emerged this year. Like when you watch the game, the amount of steals this guy, like it's
and just clamps. Like he'll just stick with guys. And I would have Jimmy on there, but just because of the 20 games he's gonna miss at the end of the year, that's why I put Russ in there.
And the crazy part about the whole Paul George thing to me is like he is an elite offensive talent, but when I think about Paul George, I'm like, man, that guy's a unreal lockdown defender. Like that's what comes in my head first.
That's what makes it so exciting. That's why I love him and Jimmy Butler so much, because the game is definitely more like probably 70-30 offense to defense. Like if you're a strictly offensive player, you can make it in this league. Where if you're Tony Allen, I don't know if you can have an impact anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to have a guy that can play the offense like that, like get you a bucket whenever you need, be a number 1 option on a team potentially, and guard the best player on the team, well, it's special.
I agree, and I had a couple centers as my nominees. I had Joel Embiid.
He's been crazy active this year too. Like just
rim protection, like he's just all over the place.
He's great, and I think he's
on top of trolling fans.
Yeah. He's a solid lockdown center, right? He's a
pick and roll D,
and that's the thing too, and that's what I was going to get to. Like he's your classic rim protecting big man, and I'm not too afraid when he has to guard guys on the perimeter.
Not at all.
I'm not confident in it. Like you saw that, as much as I don't want to take the All-Star game for what the All-Star game is, but you could see KD and LeBron trying to get Embiid into pick and rolls to get switches onto him in the fourth quarter. But he was holding his own against the best players in the world, you know? It's tough to do. But as a guy that size who blocks the amount of shots he blocks, to still be able to step out and guard the perimeter a little bit, I think it's huge. I think he should be up there, but I like Capella better just because of the pace that Houston plays at, to be up and down the court that much and still be an anchor defensively.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
I think at that position, right, like Capella and Embiid are 2 of the front runners.
Yeah, and you got your guys like Drummond and Whiteside and DJ who are always there, but I think these two have emerged just because of the youthfulness and just the energy that it brings and the anchors defensively that they are, right? Like with Detroit, they always try to be a defensive team. They just don't have any of the talent, but they got perimeter defenders, and they're supposed to have these dogs. The same with LA. LA's the Clippers are all about that. You know, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Where you got all these guys buying into a system. Where I think Capella and Embiid definitely stand out as rocks on the defensive end as anchors.
Yeah, and like Drummond, and I almost had Drummond as a nominee, but the thing for me, I tossed Al Horford in there instead because he's on a winning team, and I think he's a very underrated utility player, and lots of the stuff he does on the court it's overlooked. Like
you're not going to see it on stats, right? You're not going to see it in his block numbers, in his steal numbers, but you want to talk about an anchor. That guy sees everything. That guy's the quarterback of that defense, and it's very unique to watch. I've never really seen anyone kind of run the floor defensively the way he does without the athleticism.
And go back to his days in Atlanta, even, right? Like him and Millsap.
Yeah.
2 underrated defensive guys.
And not shot blockers, right? Not your classic big men defenders, but both great defenders.
And not great rim protectors, if we're being honest, right? Like, you look at Boston's problems now. Yeah. They're not a great defensive rebounding team.
That's because of the size, but the defense itself is still there.
Yeah.
But that's why I like Capella and Embiid more than that, because they'll finish out possessions by getting you a board.
Yeah.
You know, same with Drummond. Drummond leads the league in rebounds because he's a monster athletically.
Yeah.
Where Al Horford, where he lacks in athletic talent, the IQ is bar none better than most of the big men in the league.
I don't think it would be fair for us to leave a guy like Horford out of the mix, right?
And that's fair. I could see that.
But we do agree PG-13 is the guy by quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's touching him. Like he's just so good. I'm thinking most improved next. I looked at your candidates for most improved. You got a few. You got some names out there. I'd like to hear your thoughts on your top 3 guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of. This was a weird one for me, but I went with my gut.
So who are your 3 nominees for the most improved?
I got my guy, Gary Harris, just signed a big contract extension. He's been phenomenal defensively. He's had a breakout year, and he's one of the league leaders in steals, and he typically guards the opposing team's best player.
And he still puts up 20 plus a night. Yeah, I can see that.
Plays a lot. And I had Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown's had to emerge, right, this year because of the Gordon Hayward injury?
Yeah. And this is my big thing with this whole awards, especially with most improved. Yeah, the players improve year by year on a year-by-year basis, but it's more, for me, like situations improving, right? Like, look at Jaylen Brown. Look at a Victor Oladipo. Like, we saw him in Orlando, and we were like, wow, this kid can play. I remember after the All-Star break, and then he went to OKC, things didn't work out, and this year, he's emerged.
It's all about situation, right? And I think that especially when you look at younger players and okay, sorry, I'll get into that afterwards. You talk about your 3rd nominee first.
Fred VanVleet. Steady Freddie VanVleet.
Steady Freddie.
You want to talk about a situation improving guy? Wichita State shocker. I loved watching them in the tournament when they had Ron Baker, who plays for the Knicks. This kid has come out of nowhere, and he's undersized, but you watch him lately, he knocks down the good 3-and-D guy.
He's won him a few games.
And he you want to talk about a dog. This guy digs in. I like him a lot.
I'm
undrafted
yeah,
kid.
I'm a fan of Fred VanVleet for sure. I don't think he's in the conversation for any awards given on
Why not most improved? You're most improved player on the best team in the Eastern Conference. Why not?
Because Victor Oladipo is going to win most improved player of the year. He just is.
I don't think Fred VanVleet's the favorite. I think he deserves to be a nominee though.
I don't think he's top 3 because Victor Oladipo's going to win it.
Yeah.
When you come from where you come from, where it looked like you didn't really know how to play basketball last year because Russ was so tunnel vision, Russ was so triple-double, Russ was so, don't worry, I'm putting us on our back, I'm winning this game. We lost Oladipo in the mix, right? We knew he was getting this pay bump this year. They already signed him to the extension, $20 million a year. It just looked like he was going to be the next Evan Turner kind of thing. Like he just wasn't going to be much.
We knew he was talented though.
Yeah, but we know everyone in the league's talented. That's the 400 most talented players in the entire world, right? It's always there. You want to talk about situations. Obviously, you need situation. But for some guys, just taking that step up. Goes back to Indiana where he went to college. Took him on, like, they're a playoff team. I didn't think, after they traded Paul George, they traded Paul George for Sabonis and Victor Oladipo. No way they look better than they do last year. But guess what?
They do.
They do. Because Victor Oladipo is a stud. Offensively, defensively, athletically, from the perimeter, in the paint, slashing, whatever you want to call it. He's been better all the way around. And I've always liked Vic. I've always been a fan of him. I didn't think he could be this good even though.
Not that a trade that involves shipping Paul George is a good trade, but
it was.
The fact that they got Sabonis and Vic when George was probably going to leave Indiana after this year anyway.
100% was going to leave Indiana after this year.
Phenomenal. Like Sabonis he's been really good too.
Yeah. I think Vic takes it hands down, but I think a runner-up is Clint Capella. I've been watching this guy, this guy from Switzerland, right?
Swiss.
I can't think of another Swiss player in the league ever.
I don't think any. Yeah.
Stud comes in. We know he was a raw prospect. He kind of had the defensive touch. We weren't really sure. This year with his new system with the 2 point guards, I thought he was going to take a step back even from last year. But it just made him that much better. Catching lobs left and right.
He's just so athletic.
Anchoring the defense. Relentless energy up and down the court. That stat when those 3 are in the lineup together, they're 31-2 the entire year. CP3, Harden, and Capella.
Yeah. And the one point I'll make about Capella is, like, I honestly think Chris Paul going there kind of he kind of engaged everybody on the defensive end. He kind of got them to buy in,
Yeah.
which I think is key. Because when you look at D'Antoni, it's not him. He's never been that kind of guy. It's been like, okay, they're making twos, but if we're making threes,
Yeah.
we're gonna win, right? So it's got to be on Chris Paul to instill that in
He's
them.
never been a defensive coach for sure, and I just think Capella as the anchor of that team, that is a good defensive team. Where last year we weren't sure if he was going to be a rotation player or what. I think he's been the third best player on that team this year, including Eric Gordon.
I like Eric Gordon.
I love Eric Gordon. I think Capella's been better this year than Eric Gordon has.
Maybe impact. Yeah, maybe
And then my third runner-up is Tobias Harris.
sleeper.
For real, though.
Yeah,
like
sleeper.
what he was doing in Detroit, look like he was going to make the All-Star team for a second, right? Then he gets shipped over to LA and you think, oh, he's probably, going to go live that beach life in LA, kind of get moved. No, he's been a dog, even more in LA, still putting up the points because they need it from him. They need points from him, and they get the defensive effort, and they get the ball movement. They just get... Tobias Harris has been a great player this year, and I don't think anyone could have saw that coming.
No,
So I think all three of those guys, and Gary Harris and Jaylen Brown, definitely should be on the list before Fred VanVleet.
yeah, but Canadian content, and I love me some Steady Freddy. Like, as a fellow Raptors fan, I know my boy Schmuck. He's a Freddie VanVleet guy.
And I like him a lot too. I went to the Cleveland game where they dismantled them, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was actually in Toronto the next game when they took Golden State to like the edge. They were down by 20 at halftime, and they battled back. Like, Fred VanVleet played a weirdly huge role in both of those games against the two best teams in the league. The two guys that have been in the finals the last 3 years, right? I never would have guessed that, and I think he has taken a huge step from last year. I just don't think he's on the level that these guys are on.
So, is it fair to say that he's been like doing things that he shouldn't be doing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but when you're playing significant minutes for the number one team in the East, I find it very hard to justify a guy that's having that kind of year not in the mix to a certain extent. Maybe I'm being wishful thinking top six. I probably am.
I mean,
but
you're talking into existence, though.
Exactly. Lonzo to the Lakers, bro.
Lonzo to the Lakers.
But I think at the end of the day, you got Vic as your front runner. I got Gary Harris. I mean, take your pick. Vic probably is, but I really like Gary Harris and what he's doing this year.
Yeah, you're a Nuggets guy. I wouldn't expect anything less, really.
Thanks.
So before we get to Coach of the Year, I think we're gonna talk about our newest segment, Schmuck's Sunday Hot Take. So what do you got for us, Schmuck? Even if it's not a Sunday, by the way, we're still gonna call it Schmuck's Sunday Hot Take.
It's always Sunday.
It's always Sunday. It's Sunday somewhere, right? That's how that works.
Yeah.
All right. So what you got for us today, Schmuck?
Greatest step back of all time, Party at Kemba.
Okay, so in the history of basketball, out of all of the step backs that have ever been step backs,
Greatest of all time,
you think
Party at Kemba.
when Kemba Walker hit that shot, was that 2011 against Pitt in the... Was that the Final Four? Or the Elite Eight?
Elite Eight.
I know
Elite Eight.
I know UConn went on that run where they were like good for 3 years.
Yeah.
Elite Eight.
So,
Greatest step back of all time.
greatest step back of all time was Kemba
Takes
Walker.
one step back, gets him moving, gets the switch on the big man. Takes one step back, gets him dancing. Takes the second one, drops him to the floor.
Party at Kemba!
Nails the jumper for the win at the buzzer.
Yeah, I mean...
Mama, there goes that man!
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I guess Kyrie's in the finals was a sidestep, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jordan's was just a crossover with a push.
You do realize there's been some pretty significant step backs at the professional level?
Nope.
No, not that compared to
Nope.
Kemba.
Nope.
All right.
Fair enough. I actually saw a clip on Instagram the other day of like Kemba is like tearing up like the past few games. It's like
March Kemba, bro.
Kemba, man.
March Kemba.
That's where it's at.
I think later we can get into underachievers and spoiler alert.
Kemba not in March is an
I
underachiever.
think Charlotte might be on that list.
Except in March. Except in March.
Except in March. All right. So thanks, Schmuck. We'll talk about our Coach of the Year here. Who are your three candidates for Coach of the Year?
I got Dwayne Casey, obviously. Best team in the East.
Yeah.
And then I got Popovich.
Greg Popovich. Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, I mean
he's
you'd be
He's Pop, right?
how can you not put him on there?
Right.
And my front runner, this is a contingent one though. This is if Utah makes the playoffs.
So is Pop for you though, right? You need
Yes,
you need the Spurs.
those two are those are
Okay.
contingent on making the playoffs. But Pop's on a different level, right?
Okay.
Quinn Snyder, if Utah makes the playoffs, he's my coach of the year, hands down. Not even close.
Interesting. Okay. I love Quinn Snyder. Like, I love Quinn Snyder a lot. Okay? But Spo, man.
Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra.
Okay, so look at the evolution of Eric Spoelstra, right? So he's a video guy from Miami.
I know! Like, the story is unbelievable. And no one gives him the credit because of the he's got 2 championships. How many coaches in the league have 2 championships?
Yeah, it must be hard to win a championship with LeBron James.
That's what everyone's saying. But if you look at what he's doing with the Heat this year,
Ever since.
oh yeah, always.
Ever since.
They're always a viable team. And everyone's like, oh, well, it's a good market. They can get free agents. But, like, who's the last free agent they got? James Johnson? Like, what?
I miss him. But the thing is, it was a valid argument at the time. But now, at this point, it's like, no.
He's great.
He's a great coach.
And I think if Miami can be a top 5 team, even a top 6 team, I think he's got to be there. Like Dwayne Casey, I think is the front runner, and I like just in the media, and I think he should win it, depending on how the last few games work out for Miami. Like Casey, his job was on the line this year, I think.
His job was on the line when they got swept by Washington in the first
Right?
round. Like,
Yeah.
He stuck around for, like,
I know.
props to Masai Ujiri for sticking with his gut.
I agree.
And a guy he
I
trusts,
agree.
right? Because Casey, a lot of franchises that aren't well run, like
Get him with
Masai
the-
Ujiri's
yeah.
a fantastic GM.
Oh.
A fantastic president.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that he stuck with this guy, it's awesome. Like, it's good to see it paying off.
And it finally worked out. But I mean, even Masai, I think, if this year didn't go well,
He's in trouble.
I don't know if he's around.
He's in trouble.
But he finally instilled his offense.
He's
right?
built a culture there, right?
For sure. But now, like, the way the bench has played this year and the way they move the ball, and DeRozan's got half the ISOs he had last year, shooting threes, ball's moving. Lowry's minutes and points are down. DeRozan's points are down, minutes are down. Bench minutes up, points up. Like, it's a really tough thing to do, to tell professionals to take a step back.
Yeah.
Especially the best of the best.
And he's responded.
And he did that. And he said, DeMar, you can't grab the ball in the lane every time.
Yeah.
We got to get going, right? And just the offense he instilled, and for them to be 8.5 games up on Cleveland, no matter what Cleveland was going through this year, Cleveland's had LeBron James all year. For them to be 8.5 up on that team
Yeah.
is huge. Thanks to him, I think.
And here's the one thing I'll say. For Dwayne, like, you want to talk about DeRozan. How about Dwayne Casey? This guy comes in, he's a defensive-minded coach, whatever, right? They run an okay offense, but to come in and revamp kind of his belief system, like, to be able to have
to evolve with the game,
to
right?
be able to have that open dialogue with Masai and to realize that what they're doing isn't getting them to the next level. To be able to do that in itself, that's, like, props to him, right?
I agree. And then my third nominee is Mike D'Antoni.
That guy's, if I was playing in the NBA, that's who I'd have to play for.
Like, they're better than the Warriors.
Yeah.
They got a better record than the Golden State Warriors. That's all I gotta say, I think.
A coach that doesn't think defending is important, winning the coach of the year. I mean, that's bold, but I mean,
He won it last
he's
year.
unreal.
He won it last year, right? And then
One of the great offensive minds in basketball.
change the game. We want to talk about Steph changing the game. I think he's had so much to do with this fast pace,
Think about
high
him
octane. Like, he was the first guy to run that 7 seconds or less in
Phoenix
with Steve Nash and stuff, right?
and Amari.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that at a different time. There are some crazy takes out there about those Phoenix Suns teams. I heard someone say Steve Nash was the 3rd best player on that team. The year he won the MVP, they were saying he was the 3rd best player on his team.
No, I disagree.
That's absurd!
That guy was Steph Curry before Steph Curry was Steph Curry.
Exactly!
Yeah.
Anyways, that's for a different
and
time.
shout out to Steve Nash, Canadian.
Exactly.
Plug.
All of the above. All of the above. I just think D'Antoni's done something. Again, we talk about I think more than half of the job in coaching at the professional level is managing egos. And I think that's why Dwayne Casey is in such talks for this, because of how he got DeRozan and stuff to buy in. But here's the other thing. Who would have thought Chris Paul and James Harden would have worked this well? You know, we had people that thought it would have worked, and we had people that thought it didn't. D'Antoni got these guys to buy in.
Yeah.
And they both, like, their usages are both down. But they're still playing so such a high level of basketball because of the system they're in. I think because of that up and down pace. Because they're the best offensive team ever.
Yeah.
Their offensive rating is 109, better than any team ever.
Yeah.
And that's not like a puffed up stat where like the last three teams have been the greatest ever, because the second team on that list is the 87 Lakers, and the third team on the list is a Celtics team from the early 80s. So that's adjusted for era, and the Rockets are still the best offensive team in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
So how can you not talk about their coach, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have one last point I want to make about the Raptors.
Okay.
You want to talk about controlling egos? This came right to my mind when you said that.
Okay.
Kyle Lowry
I don't know.
has been a problem in the past. Like you talk about his days back with the Rockets. He's always butted heads with coaches.
Yeah.
And Casey and Lowry have both said it's still a thing, right? But
They're alphas.
it's worked out. Like,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
I just don't think Kyle Lowry is good enough to be an ego problem.
Yeah, but look at lots of guys that are like that.
Yeah, they're head cases, right?
Ty Lawson.
Yeah.
Like
and
just-
I don't think Kyle Lowry's like a problem like the way those guys are.
No. But it's been good to see though.
Yeah, I agree. And there was that issue at the beginning of the year where it seemed like he was just kind of sad that like San Antonio didn't sign him. Or he was just kind of sad that no one wanted him and he just re-signed with Toronto. But
I thought that was because he didn't get his Dunkin' Donuts in the morning.
yeah, I think it definitely shifted now though, and
Oh yeah.
they're in a great spot.
I think he'll be able to coach in the league someday.
Kyle Lowry?
That's my hot take.
Interesting.
Kyle Lowry
That's an interesting
is potential coach.
Yeah, so you got Schneider.
Schneider, if Utah makes the playoffs, is my guy, and then you got Casey.
I got probably Casey. I'm making a big argument for Spo. I'm a big Spo advocate though.
Yeah.
So either of those guys, I'd be happy with it, and I wouldn't be mad about Quinn Schneider. I've been rooting for Utah all year.
I wouldn't like any of them could win, right? Any of our nominees could win. Like you could justify an argument for most of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you probably only got 10 competent coaches in the league.
Yeah, maybe.
Like coaching's a real thing, and I think that gets overlooked.
Yeah, I would agree.